Hello everybody, it is Calxiyn here. If you guys enjoyed this video, remember that you guys should become patrons over on Patreon if you guys want to support the channel, but you guys should subscribe to get notified about future videos.
So I think it's a good practice to admit the biases
okay.
whenever you're doing something
We're
like
going
this.
to do
so
this.
I'd like to
I
Cal won't share
don't
it.
like Sun, okay?
Cal, no, you dislike straight people. Anyways, this is all
you
very...
think that that's it?
No, she deeply, like... Whenever she sees, like, a man and a woman holding hands in the street, she's like, oh, fucking straight people.
I thought you were talking about my bias against Sun. But I tried to stay as objective as possible in this video, okay?
God, what are you gonna do that to your kid? Oh, God. Oh, God, like, the kids are watching. It was Adam and Steve, not Adam and Eve. It's just really upsetting, you know.
Okay. So...
Jesus wouldn't want you straight people here.
We talk about this in... our other videos, but basically there are two problems. There are character problems, and then there are situations that the character is put in that is a problem, and then makes the character
You brought up the Chat Noir.
I brought the Chat Noir example again. We're not gonna go over it again. If you guys don't know the Cat Noir example, that's your fault. At this point, we've said it a lot. Sun has problems on both sides, like writing things that people have forced him into, and then also just... other things. Like, here, I think he has issues in his own personality and then situations that writers put him in. Like, I don't personally find him very likable. Like, I don't like Sun, alright? I think he's boring, okay? And I think that I don't think that that's just me. Like, outside of Blake, what does Sun fight for? Like, what are his dreams? Why does he want to be a huntsman? Like, can you answer any of those questions?
That's a good point. I can't answer
No,
those questions.
you can't!
Yeah, he does really just exist as
He exists for Blake's characterization, and that's not good. He exists as
Blake, not even characterization, he exists as, because I feel like
Maybe.
Yang and other people are better for characterization. He exists to be like, Blake's like such a downer that they need this ray of sunshine to come in,
but
and
that
then like...
could be Yang, so...
I don't know, but like...
I don't know, maybe for Volume 4 they just...
She's so grumpy. She is such a grumpy lesbian.
He's been here since Season 1, as long as Juniper has.
Yes.
And we don't know his basic aspirations! Like, what food do you like, Sun? Like, I don't know, like, what's your favorite color? Like, we don't know anything about him.
That's a good point.
We only know he came from Vacuo. For some reason, he also went to Mistral. Why did he go to Mistral and not go to the Vacuo school? Like, what was so interesting in Mistral that he wanted to go? Why did he want to get away from his family?
I feel like Sun, people like Sun, because I kind of like Sun,
and we're going to talk about why we like Sun, because I have reasons for why I think Sun is cool.
He's frat boyish in, like, a nice way and not in, like, a, I don't know, Supreme Court justice molesting people kind of way.
This is like 3 weeks after the Kavanaugh thing, so that's not going to be very
We're
timely.
recording it when he just got kicked in. Anyways, continue.
We're Canadian, by the way, guys. I feel the need to mention that whenever we bring up American politics. Like, we're Canadian. Please don't hurt us. Don't unsubscribe. No. But yeah, Sun's a plot puppet. Like, he lacks his own direction, and he's not even really his own person. Like,
yeah.
I feel like there are so many times where we could have heard more about him to give him a more fleshing out. And this is the problem with RWBY in general. Everything is rushed for some reason, and I don't know why. But, like... I feel Sun and Neptune got to the doubles round of the tournament, and then Sun won another one. So, like... what if we actually saw stuff between them during the tournament? Like, what if Sun was feeling like him and Neptune didn't deserve their spot? Like, what if he had anxiety about the doubles round? What if they thought that they weren't good enough? Like, what if in these moments we found out why he wanted to be a huntsman too? Like, why it was so important that he won? Like, who's watching him back at home? Like, there's just so many opportunities between 2 and 3. But the only thing we know is that Sun likes Blake. Sun likes Blake because she's a faunus, and she's cool. So, Sun likes cool, mysterious faunus girls.
We also know, Cal doesn't like Blake and Sun together, and Cal doesn't like straight people.
Stop it. It's not true.
What, are straight people gonna be married now? Jesus Christ, think of the children. The social order will fall down.
What if being with Blake's parents made him remember how much he missed being at home with his parents? Yeah. Like, that would have been such a good moment. And those little things would make me like him more, because that doesn't need to be a giant thing. Like, what if we saw, like, Sun just having some nerves before he went in to do his tournament? Like his tournament fight or whatever.
I feel like this is the Boston cream donut principle again.
But they had 5 seasons to do anything with it. How long do I have to eat the donut, Hunter?
That's like listen, right? So they've been nibbling on the donut.
I don't want to nibble on the donut anymore. I'm tired of the
You're a lesbian. All you can do is nibble on the donut.
Oh, God.
Anyways, so I feel like we've been nibbling, but what if part of the thing about, like, him getting character development...
Michael said that Sun is getting more development, and I'm like, thank fucking Christ, but I'm saying it took too long.
What if
it better be a great fucking donut!
What
if I nibbled on it for this long. That's what I'm saying.
Listen, sister, when the cream hits... Ooh, it hits!
It better hit!
Because, like, what if that's part of it,
That's why I'm doing this video before Volume 6 comes out.
Yeah, what if part of it is just like, oh, everyone thinks fucking, oh, I'm Sun. Sun's gonna be fine. Sun's fun. Sun's a fun guy. No one asks how Sun feels. I got stabbed in my goddamn pancreas, and no one cared. Like, what if that was also part of it? If, like, he was like, yeah, I'm fucking cracking up, guys. I did not think we'd be fighting literal terrorists. Did you see that guy? He put crystals on his arm. Yang has, like, a magic lamp. I don't even know. You punched a terrorist. It was like, imagine seeing your friend from school. Imagine... Do you remember Devin from high school?
Okay,
Imagine if you one day you saw Devin punching Osama bin Laden. That'd be fucking weird for you.
Yeah. Alright. Okay. But yeah. So vagueness and rushing. That's basically the problem here. Like with Ilya we talked about...
They were nibbling on that donut.
Sometimes, like, people perceiving things as rush made people perceive her badly. And I feel like Sun and the vagueness around him going after Blake is another problem. Because people got two different things from this scene. They thought that that Sun followed Blake for a few days after Beacon fell, and this was earlier in the timeline. Some people took it as Sun followed her for 6 months, and that's creepy, right? You know what I mean? And that's just about being vague. Like, it's their fault that they won't establish a timeline. Like, why won't they do that? Like, do they not understand the timeline in between things? And I get if you establish something, it makes it easier for plot holes to happen, I guess. But if you do it correctly the first time, it should be okay, right? Like... timeline. Like, I don't get my own life timeline confused. You know what I mean? Like, I know what I did yesterday, I know what I did last week, like, nothing's out of order. You know what I mean? So I don't get why they don't establish a timeline that is natural for the show.
You also have, like, a stack of diaries over here, so it's fair to say that
well, that's what you gotta do as a writer,
you have help by the written word.
I guess. But, I mean... they're the writers. They should write down a timeline. And I feel like the timeline thing could fix that. And what if, like... Sun even had a throwaway line like, hey, it took me a few days to find you. Then, hey, we know he's not a stalker that followed her for months. Because that was my problem. Like, they started their own dumpster fire in Volume 4 by being vague. Because we couldn't figure out the timeline until after the season had really already started. So I was like, what the fuck has Sun been doing for 6 months? Like, I was one of those people that was like, what the hell? Because we thought everything was concurrent when it made more sense for Blake to be in the past. Right? But even then, it's like, Blake had time for a whole costume change in those 4 days that Sun was following her or whatever. Like, what if he just said that? That would have been so easy for him to say, instead of people being confused. And I think people disliked him even more because of that, because they're like, wow, he followed Blake for 6 months? Like, that caused a lot of conflict. And that was avoidable conflict. What if he did say, hey, you know, it took me a couple days before I could find you again, but here I am, you know? Like, that's so easy. That's so... that could avoid a problem waiting to happen right there. Because they should have realized how it would be perceived if you don't have a timeline for people and people don't understand where things are placed because you won't make your own timeline. Right? Mm-hmm. I don't think that's so unfair to say, because a lot of people are like, well, they don't need to spell everything out for you, and I'm one of those people, right? Like, they don't need to tell you everything, like, figure out stuff for yourself, but how are we supposed to figure out something that they don't even know? Like, if they don't know, we don't know. And if they don't know, I don't know.
I guess it's the type of thing where it's just like, it works if you don't think about it.
I guess. But then, I mean, it's kind of hard not to think about it, because that's like the whole point of those scenes. Is like, hey, Sun came to rescue me, and I hate that. Like, that's the whole thing in Volume 4. Like, Sun, why did you come after me? I wanted to be left alone. Like, if that wasn't the focus, maybe it would be okay.
Like, bitch, I was worried about you.
Mm-hmm.
You were dumb son of a bitch.
I feel like...
I'll tell you that.
Not wanting to make the timeline is just another thing of keeping things vague so they don't need to do extra work, and it came back to bite them in this instance.
I don't know if it was too so terrible.
I mean, it caused a bit of issues. I'm saying in the I don't want to be like in the fandom it started a war, like no, but it did cause some issues because even I was like, what the fuck, like.
Well, I feel like it's less stalking and more just being like, I was keeping tabs.
Well,
on
for
a
6 months, like that's a little weird.
Listen, motherfucker.
If that was the 6-month case,
I would keep tabs on you if a goddamn dragon attacked like the White House. I'd be like, how's Cal keeping up?
Yeah, but we're best friends.
It's been a few months.
And we've seen each other naked. Like, Sun and Blake are not on that relationship
I've barely
level.
seen you naked.
Like, you understand what I'm saying?
That barely counts, hun.
I'm just saying. All I'm saying
also,
is that I'm just...
it ain't too hard to see Hunter McPherson naked. Just, like, knock on the door. I've given up all of my shits recently. Like, the dick is flopping around. I'm like, hey, fellas, what's up?
Okay.
Also, we don't know. Here's the thing. I am convinced that Sun is, like, the straight gay best friend.
What?
In high school, I was the straight, as far as they knew, gay best friend. Where
that would have made you an actual
treat me
straight best
as
friend.
the stereotypical gay best friend, even though I was, to their knowledge, heterosexual.
Okay.
I feel like it's the same thing with Blake.
Okay,
with
Hunter,
Sun and Blake, rather, where it's just like, how did this bra look at me? It's just like, oh, honey, it's just like, really, Lace? You're gonna do that on the first night? You think he deserves it? Like, no.
Who is he? Who is Blake seeing if not Sun?
Ilya? I don't...
Ilya! Wait, but then you said, do you think he deserves it?
Ilya likes to be called a daddy in the bedroom.
Okay. This is sort of nitpicky. I don't like Sun's voice. I'm sorry, Michael.
I like Michael.
I apologize. I like Michael! I don't like him voicing Sun. That's my problem. I don't like Michael's voice delivery, that's all. Like, remember the Japanese
Achievement
dub?
Hunter way too much.
Remember the Japanese dub where Sun was sexy and charming with line delivery, whereas Sun had, like, some, like, flirting moments, but Michael just mixed it up and you're like, man, that's awkward.
Can I be honest with you? Whenever,
Michael isn't sexy. I'm sorry, but I don't find Michael very sexy. Okay? Sun is a sexy guy. He has a cool design and an interesting weapon. Michael isn't sexy. And listen, I like girls most of the time. Okay?
Is Michael Jones a goddamn package? Not only is he...
I love you, Michael.
Cute.
But he's cute,
adorable.
But he's not sexy.
He is, like, cut as a motherfucker.
My God. Cut.
And, yeah, he is actually quite muscular.
I thought he was a little chubby.
That's muscle. He used to be, now he's, like, cut.
Oh, well, I haven't seen him in a while. Maybe he is hot now.
That. And you know what? Maybe I just think very highly of Lindsay Jones, and this is weird because they're weird people, but if the man can mount the ginger-haired goddess... then god damn it, he's good. Like,
is he?
He's sexy. It's okay.
I'm trying to find a recent picture of Michael. Guys.
Also, you know what's good for sexy? Good for sexy is like a sense of humor and like, not taking things so seriously. You know, I dig that. I like that.
Still, I don't...
Also, have you seen those photos in Michael Jones and a Virgin Killer sweater? Like, those things pop ovaries, baby.
You know what I'm saying, though? Like, in terms of, okay. Yeah, he's cute, but he's not sexy.
Yes, he is. There's been sexy photos of him. There's been,
I've seen sexy photos of him. I want a smooth, sexy guy to play Sun. Okay?
You want to know?
Because Sun has some really flirty, actually good lines, and I'm like, yikes, that's awkward. That sucks.
The Japanese voice felt like, it felt like a Japanese businessman getting next to my ear and like, hello. I am a sexy Japanese man.
Oh God, Hunter.
I've come to fulfill the fantasies that I know you don't have. That's what it felt like.
No, okay, whatever. Agree to disagree. That's my personal nitpick. That's my bias showing, because I don't think that's, like, a valid problem for most people. The line delivery is. The voice part, maybe not.
He's been in cool fights. For his praise, he's been in cool fights. I like his design.
He has an interesting weapon and fighting style. He has a cool design. I don't know if his clothes are really that unique. That's not
but it gives off a vibe.
It gives off a vibe. I think, because he's kind of like, his shirt's open, like, he's the only character that has that
But that's
attitude.
like visual rhetoric, where they're just like, he looks like a relaxed, fun
Well, that's
dude.
what I'm saying, and I think that's cool. Like,
dude.
I think how Kim Newman and Monty animated him, like, he's just so cool and he's so smooth. And that's why
he's a smooth boy.
That's why it hurts that Sun sounds so lame, because he
looks
so cool.
How dare you?
But he sounds so bad.
I like how you opened... We're looking at a script now. You opened the feedback to the video so you could look at yourself.
I could.
As you said, he didn't have a good voice. How dare you?
Anyway.
Talon Carpenter.
I don't really have anything else. Like, I think that Sun seems pretty genuine, right?
Yeah,
like, when it comes to helping Blake, even though he has no character or whatever.
Upon occasion, like, he's had some good jokes.
Yeah,
like,
he has some good jokes.
When he walked into, like, I can't wait to see my friend, and he walks into the
food
mess
fight,
hall,
right? Yeah.
and everything's going to shit. I loved how it was great when Neptune was terrified, and he was
I like me some junior detectives, you know what I mean?
Junior detective.
But, yeah, I can't really... The problem is, here's the thing. I can't praise his motivations or his beliefs if he doesn't have any, and we don't know what they are, so... That's fair. This is where it starts and ends. Also, Sun's blonde. I have a thing for blonde, so, like, +2 points.
You have a thing for black blonde
But I also have a thing for blondes in general, but anyway. Let's talk about Sun's future. Oh, here's the other thing. Sun's from Vacuo. I just imagine Vacuo as, like, a Middle Eastern sort of,
There's so many people with blonde hair in Saudi Arabia.
Or like, sort of like...
You goddamn moron.
You know what I mean? Like, sort of, like, Africa or the Middle East. Like, that's what Vacuo... Like, I thought that that's what Vacuo's vibe was supposed to be, because it's like Atlas came in and stole all their resources, just like, you know, certain countries have plundered certain other countries, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm just surprised that Sun's white. That's all I'm saying. Like, what if he was sexy, dark-skinned man? I would appreciate it.
It feels like they're doing a whole thing where, like, everybody from anywhere can be any skin color.
Yeah, can move anywhere or whatever.
Which I dig that.
But, like, it doesn't make... That wouldn't make sense, though, like, evolution-wise, though, would it? Because...
You know what else wouldn't make sense evolution-wise? Fucking cat people! Okay. But you're okay with that?
You know what I'm saying, though? Like, obviously, if you live in a hotter place... Like, anyways. You evolve to have darker skin.
What if the melanin just works different?
I don't know. But I'm just saying, melanin? Like, maybe that's what I don't like about Sun, is he's not what he's not what I hoped.
Everyone on that show is fucking lily white until they started introducing
I know, well that's what I'm saying, like... Anyway, that's not an actual criticism, guys, by the way. Don't be like, wow, Cal hates straight and white people. Like, no, don't do
You hate straight white people? Get out of here, whitey!
Yeah, I know, like...
We don't like you in these kinds of neighborhoods!
Oh, God.
You know, this neighborhood was great until all those Caucasians started moving in. They don't mow their goddamn lawn, and the property prices are going down. Ugh. I think we should build a wall around white people.
To keep them in?
Just all round them up. They're just, you know, their music, their Hall & Notes, just, oh god, white people. Ugh.
Yikes. Anyway, I hope this video doesn't get, like, demonetized, or, like, flagged or something. Hey, like, guys were joking. This is satirical, kind of. But yeah.
I smelt mayonnaise, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, do you really have to cook that? Oh, it's everywhere, that mayonnaise scent.
Oh god.
Ugh, white people.
So, here's the thing about Sun now, for possibilities. I don't understand what they're gonna do with him, because right now staying behind with his team makes the most sense, but if he's getting development, he's probably going to Atlas, or at least he's staying in Menagerie long enough to get, he's staying with them long enough to get development. So, like, I don't know what they're gonna say. Like, okay, so here's my options, alright? His teammates are dead. Not Neptune, the other two, right? And
what if that would be a really cool moment? Like, maybe that's
like,
why
that would further his development. Like,
he ran after Blake because, like...
No, that wouldn't work, because Neptune didn't want to come with, because he's afraid of water.
But what about if it was, like, Scarlet and Sage, or just, like, they didn't make it?
But, like, this would have happened to Mistral after Sun already.
Or maybe, like, they didn't want anything to do with us anymore.
Yikes. Well, actually, I had some ideas, so let me list my ideas first before you steal them. So what if his teammates
Steal them like a white person.
Oh, God. Ugh. You're colonizing my ideas, Hunter! No. What if his teammates are dead or something, and maybe he feels like a terrible leader because he left his team to go after Blake, and look what happened. Now Sage and Scarlet are dead, because in the attack on Mistral, right, they lost a lot of teachers and huntsmen, right? So Team Sun seems like the kind of, like, knuckleheads to, like, go in and fight even though they're inexperienced, you know what I mean? Or, like, what if Neptune is the only one left and they both go to Atlas together because they have nowhere else to go? Like, the entire team going, I feel like, creates a too many characters issue, which I talked about before, but Sun going alone creates an asshole issue, and so I think Sun and Neptune going together makes the most sense. Like, maybe Scarlet and Sage don't have to die. What if they decided they don't want to be huntsmen anymore and decided to go back home? Like, hey, we didn't sign up for this shit, and then they just drop out of school. Like, there has to be a dropout rate for the huntsman schools, right?
You'd hope.
Like, you'd think, right?
You'd hope
like,
that you get the cream of the crop, right?
Instead of them both dying, like, what if instead it's just, oh, Sage and Scarlet dropped out, and then that sort of has the same the dynamic, right? Like, Neptune and Sun on the way to Atlas would have conflict because, and that would further their character, right? They would both have conflict because, hey, maybe if you didn't go home, Sage and Scarlet wouldn't want to, like, drop out and we'd also be together, like, for Neptune to be sort of like that. And they'd sort of have this character development that helps each other. And what if Neptune is also mad at Blake because Sun went after her and it put their team in danger and now their team is broken or dead or whatever? Like, all Sun talked about at Beacon was Blake, and, like, you know what I mean? Like, even, like, oh, Blake's so cool, she's a faunus, like, he talks about that with Neptune, right? We don't see them have a conversation, really, that's not really about her. There may be one or two, but, you know what I mean? Like, what if that happens? So, again, my options are, Sun goes with Neptune to Atlas, Sage and Scarlet are gone, or Sage and Scarlet are dead. If they really want to take the whole team to Atlas, I'm gonna be angry. Like, if they really want to take all of Team Sun, or if Sun abandons his team again, like, he better have a really good reason, other than, like, maybe Sage and Scarlet, they do drop out, and Neptune doesn't want to come with him, and so then they disband, and that really hurts Sun's feelings.
Or maybe he was lying previously about them, like, what if he was lying about him, like, oh, he doesn't
about
like
Sun asking about Neptune, and
what if he was
yikes,
lying about that?
That would be, like, hey, Blake, I gotta tell you something.
Like, hey, by the way, having an incredibly traumatic experience, like, having the world fall around you, it didn't go well for our relationship.
I would like Sun to come with them to Atlas, but I don't want too many characters, and so I don't know what they're gonna do with him, but I hope it's either Sun and Neptune or Sun by himself with a justifiable reason. Yeah. And they could also send him home to Vacuo, which I feel like would help with his development, but obviously if Michael's saying he's getting some development, he's either going to Atlas or he's getting that development while they're still in Mistral, and then he's leaving.
I think he's going to Atlas and saying, like, I lied and we actually had a falling out there. It'd be good for his development. Because before this, we've never really seen him be all that serious. Mm-hmm. Like, realistically, when's the last time he's been serious?
And what about conflict with Ilya? Because what if what if Yang blames Blake for leaving Sun, and Sun is like, hey, she messed up, but, like, she didn't have a choice. Like, it's like Civil War over here. You're either Team Blake or you're Team Yang. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that would be cool, too. Or what if Sun is sent away by Ozpin because Ozpin doesn't want anyone else to know what's going on with Team RWBY and Juniper. And so Sun doesn't want to have to leave, but him and Blake need to part ways, and that would give him the development I think that Michael is talking about, because Blake would try to send him away, but Blake is like, listen, I can't explain, but there's something bigger going on here, you should just go home, and Sun is like, I don't want to leave you after all this time, right? And so that's a lot of potential conflict as well, because it makes sense that Ozpin wouldn't want everybody and their mother knowing, and that's why I think taking Team Sun is even more weird, because I feel like Ozpin doesn't want to just take an army of huntsmen everywhere he goes, right? And so if he'd be like, hey, Blake, listen, we're gonna fill you in on the whole
I dislike traveling with an army. I prefer to travel with a cabal of ragtag teenagers.
Mm-hmm. Yes. But there's so much, like, conflict in that situation. And here's another thing that I thought of, okay? You know what would be cool? Mm-hmm. So Ozpin sends him away. They have a fight. Sun's like, okay! And then he stows away on the boat, or the airship, just like he stowed away on the boat in Volume 1. Mm-hmm. So that would be a really good callback. Like, you know, Blake tries to send him away because of what Ozpin says, then he's like, alright, and then he just stows away on the ship, and Ozpin's like, really? You fuck? Like, what? You know what I mean? I feel like that would be nice.
It'd also be funny if Blake was just like, I've seen you using the same robe. Get over here, son. I know.
Like, yeah. And I really want them to expand his character. I really want him to give his character attention. And I think they can start, like, wherever they want with it, because they've never touched it, right? So, it's even more of a reason why they shouldn't mess it up now. Like, Volume 5's over. Everybody had a problem with Volume 5. But Volume 5's over, Volume 5's done. Volume 6 is a good chance for them to take and show the improvement. And, like, what if Ozpin's just like, man, this kid won't quit, like, after he shows away on the ship, right?
This kid's fucking annoying.
There's just so many options, and, like, we couldn't possibly go through them on, but I'm, like, a big fan of him stowing away on the airship like he did at the beginning, because, again, it's a nice callback. It shows that Sun is a little mischievous, you know what I mean? And it still wouldn't explain why his team didn't come with, but maybe his team isn't allowed, and so he decides to take one for the team and just stows away. But yeah, I'm done. That's all. Anything else?
Fucking white people.
God. If you guys enjoyed this video, remember you guys should subscribe to get notified about new videos, and if you want to support us, become patrons over on Patreon to get early access, request topics, and support the channel. And we will see you guys later. Bye. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you to all of our wonderful patrons over on Patreon, our $20 patrons. If you guys don't know, they get 6 video tickets. That means they can ask us or request a video from us. They have access to our monthly Patreon group voice chat, and they also get access to a special VIP chat on our server. Our $10 patrons get week in advance early access plus, which means they'll see videos more in a week in advance. After they're done, they get 3 video tickets, and for our $5 patrons, they get a week in advance early access, so 7 days early. And of course, our $1 patrons have their name featured in our videos, and they have access to our Discord server. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you guys join in the Discord server soon. Bye, guys.